Hello, Uggies Worldwide. I'm Dave Casler, amateur radio call sign K0OG, here with another episode of Ask Dave. Today's question comes to us from George Burkowski, KC3TBI. Now, it's an interesting question. He wrote this when he was new to ham radio. He found a 49-to-1 Balun, and he wants to put together an end-fed antenna. By the way, this will work with the 49-to-1 Balun that you can get with a 40 through 10 length of wire from the ARRL. It works the same way. It'll also do 80, in other words. Now, in determining the antenna think, I will wrap the antenna wire back on itself through the insulator. I plan on trimming from the far end to get my final length. Yes, that's what you have to do. There's only one thing you can do to affect how a 49-to-1 antenna works, and that is to trim it from the end. It's going to affect all the bands. Now, the bands will be slightly different in terms of SWR, and you will want to use the antenna tuner that is built into your radio to get it tuned up just right, okay? Other little things that you can do, but primarily it's lengthening the ending. Where does the length end when you wrap it around an insulator? Well, technically, since you're going to wrap it back around, you capacitively couple that there, and that effectively shortens the antenna, and the antenna edge is where it wraps around in the insulator. But that's not important. You're going to make your antenna a couple feet longer than you think it has to be, and then you're going to adjust it till you get the best combination of SWRs across all the bands. You probably will have to tune it down in the bottom part of 80 meters for this thing to work. The FT8 frequency is as good a place to start as any, okay? If you have Nano VNA, has a computer program where you can just see right on the screen what's going on. Don't have anybody real near the end when you get it checked out, because it's the very end of the antenna. It's the high voltage end. Now, that will mean a lot of up and down on the end of the dipole. It'd be nice to have a pulley there so you can get the thing through. Okay? What band should I start the tuning at? 80 meters. Absolutely 80 meters. That's the lowest band this type of antenna will cover that's practical. Okay? If you want to go really high, like 100 feet or so, you might be able to squeeze a few kilohertz out on 160 meters, but not worth the effort, nor is it worth the amount of time it would take to do that and effort. If you really want to operate it on 160 meters, put up a 160 meter full length loop, horizontal, as high as you can get it, and then you'll be able to use your tuner with that to cover the entire 160 meter band, but you'll have to tune every time you change frequency. So yes, you will start at 80 meters, and then you will check the SWR across the bands that you normally use, and you will find that you will be making slight adjustments, and you're going to be covering the bottom part of 80 meters. Now, there are other tricks of the trade and things like that, but basically this is how we get an end-fed dipole to work. The other thing you have to consider is the counterpoise. Your unun looks like this. You've got a coil, and then this continues on up so that you have a 7-to-1 turns ratio, this being the 1, this being the 7, although normally it's about 3 turns down here, so that'd be to 21 turns up here. And the impedance is the square of the turns ratio, so 49-to-1. Now, this is the part we connect to the antenna, okay? What about this part? The answer is this needs to be a counterpoise somehow. Well, if you make your cable like 50 feet long, then the outer shield of the cable will take over the duties of the counterpoise till this comes down to ground, where you have your lightning arrestor, and then you go from there into the house. This is your house boundary. Never put this inside. Shield current will be grounded at this point, so it won't go into the house. But this outside of the shield acts as the counterpoise. If you can't do this, you may have to string a wire that's 10 or 20 feet long, that's hanging down, even attached to ground maybe, that will allow this thing to have a complete circuits that it wants. So if you use the cable for this, you don't need the extra like that. That's how I do it, and it works very well. Okay, well, very good luck with that project. I know a number of people out there are trying this project. You can get 49-to-1 baluns already made. I'd go to Amazon rather than eBay, but you can get some good ones. You can also get some bad ones. But take a close look, read it carefully, and see what happens. There's a company called My Antennas that makes these things, and other amateur radio suppliers that make them. For wire, why not go to Home Depot and get some gray wire? You can get it in rolls, THHN insulation, 7-wire stranded, 12 or 14 gauge. It's so much easier to work with the wire when it's stranded, and string it out there. You buy the wire in 500-foot rolls, so you can put up other antennas with that same wire. You can put radials on your vertical antenna, whatever you would like. So, George, I hope that answers your question. I know that you originally wrote this question in 2021, and it's now 2024. So I'm assuming that in the past 3 years you've done great, marvelous things with ham radio. But I'm going through these old questions, which were in a insufficiently read email box, to allow other people with the same question access to the answers that you've probably already figured out. I'm a very enthusiastic proponent of end-fed half-wave antennas. They work well, and I was really surprised when I first tried it. I thought that was crazy, but they do work well. 49-to-1 balun is the key. That would make it, what, 2250 ohms? Let's see, 49 times 50. 49 times 50. 2450 ohms. Okay, so there you have it. Until we next meet, 73.